May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be always acceptable unto you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Please be seated. So Joseph and Mary went to Bethlehem, to the house of David, because they were of the house and lineage of David. Here we are in the house of Jesus, because we are the house and lineage of Jesus. This is a family gathering. You might say to yourself, how are these people my family? Some of them I have never met before. Well, have you ever taken a test like on 23andMe or Ancestry.com and discovered that you have relatives all over the world that you know nothing about? That's the way it is with the family of Jesus. And like people throughout ages in the winter, we gather and we, as my friend Jay would say, we talk story. On this night, Christians all over the world are gathering to hear the story of Jesus' birth, to hear how a little Jewish boy was born over 2,000 years ago, and how his birth was marked by signs and wonders, and how his parents were just humble people being pushed hither and yon by emperors and governors that they didn't know and had no control over, how they found refuge. We translate it in, but that's not really a good translation. It would be like the family household, and the guest rooms were full. And so they slept in the stable. Why do we tell this story? And in what sense are we a family descended from this Jesus? You know, maybe some of you have the blood of Palestinian Jews in your veins. As near as I can tell, I don't. As near as I can tell, some of my ancestors were Vikings, and some of them were Picts, and some of them were probably Irish Celts. But the family of Jesus is not defined by DNA. It is not defined by genetics. It is bound together through Jesus' love. Towards the end of this service, we will ask God to bless this creche, and the prayer that we say asks that we may rejoice forever as God's adopted children. Through Jesus, we are in covenant relationship with God the Father, with God the Creator. A new covenant that does not depend on family, does not depend on lineage. We are adopted. We choose that adoption through sacraments, through the sacrament of baptism. We renew those bonds through the sacrament of the Eucharist. If you listen to the prayer that I will say over the bread and the wine. I pray that all who share in this bread and cup may become one body and one spirit, sharing spiritually in the life of Jesus Christ. You know, there's some peoples I have read have the custom of adopting someone as a brother or sister by cutting something on that and pressing together so that they mingle their blood. I think that's sort of what Jesus did when he told his disciples, take, eat, this is my body, this is my blood. It's like making us family with him. And this family, you know, we have a little tiny bit of it here. And like any family, we gather, we have our customs. You know, we have our creche on Christmas Eve. We sing Silent Night. There are people in this building for whom it would not feel like Christmas if we did not sing Silent Night. It would be as much as my job is worth to not include that. So we have our customs that are the same from year to year. And sometimes, you know, like a family Thanksgiving gathering, we remember the years where things didn't go so well. In my own family, we tell the story of the year in which, unbeknownst to us, a small child was flipping on and off the switch into which the turkey roaster was plugged. And when we thought the turkey was done, it was beautiful and golden. We took it to the table on its platter and we carved into it. It was completely raw inside. That year, we ate all of the sides first, and the turkey came as the second course, having hastily been put in the microwave. This is the first Christmas Eve in several years that we have not had either ice, snow, or a pandemic, and I am grateful for that. Let us hope we don't have any memorable mishaps. But because this is a family gathering, it's not a performance, it's not a magic show. It's a family gathering. We know that it's okay even if it's not perfect. I can no longer reach the high notes of the hymns. I ask you to forgive me for that. It's a family. And like a family sometimes has the eldest member who tells the same story every year. We hear the same story every Christmas Eve. We hear the story of how Mary and Joseph went from Nazareth to Bethlehem, how Jesus was born in the stable, how the angels proclaimed it to the shepherds and they came to see. We hear the story in English. Some hours from now, people in the congregation in Okinawa that my friend Mother Tanabe pastors, they will hear it in Japanese. In Honolulu, they will hear it perhaps in English, and then they will sing the Queen's Prayer in Hawaiian. It's proclaimed in grand cathedrals and in small wooden churches in English and Maori and Navajo and Spanish and Japanese and Tagalog. And wherever it is proclaimed, we are reminded not only that we are one family united by the love of Jesus and the covenant with God that he creates, we are also reminded to look, listen for what the angels might be saying now. Because the Word is never silent. The Word incarnate in Jesus was incarnate in a specific person at a specific time, but the Word is not silent. Right now, a baby is being born who carries that love into the world afresh. Right now, in a rock that looks impenetrable, a stubborn tree is forming a crack and coming out. Right now, in our land, there are little twigs that look dead right now, but are bushes that were just planted that will provide food. We tell the story to remind ourselves of our origins as a family, to remind ourselves and one another of God's love that caused the Word to be born as that baby so long ago. But we also tell the story to remind ourselves to look for what is new, to listen for the angels, to not be blind or deaf to what the Word might be doing now in the world, what love is doing now in the world.